Hello again, retro fans, and I'm back with another video. If you're anything like me, you probably love finding new ways to experience classic N64 games. Some of them are so visually impressive that it's hard to believe that they're running on N64 hardware at all. So today, we're checking out 21 visually stunning N64 ROM hacks that are absolutely worth your time. Whether you're a longtime N64 fan or just curious about the ROM hacking scene, I think you'll find something here that catches your eye. Let's get started. GoldenEye, Peach's Castle. I never expected Peach's Castle and GoldenEye to work together, but somehow this hack makes the combination feel surprisingly natural. Instead of sneaking through military facilities, you're exploring a beautifully recreated version of the iconic castle from Super Mario 64. What really grabbed me was how familiar locations suddenly feel completely different when viewed through GoldenEye's first-person perspective. The visuals are your main attraction here, with detailed rooms, bright colors, and plenty of little references for Nintendo fans to spot. Gameplay-wise, it still retains the classic GoldenEye shooting mechanics, which creates a fun contrast with the cheerful environment that you're playing in. If you spent countless hours in Peach's Castle before, seeing it transformed like this is genuinely worth experiencing. GoldenEye with Sonic character. Sometimes ROM hacks don't need a complicated idea to be entertaining. This one simply drops Sonic into the world of GoldenEye, and honestly, that's already enough to make it memorable. The first thing that stood out to me was how strange yet amusing it feels watching the blue hedgehog running through levels that were originally built for secret agents. The visuals aren't just a simple character swap either. Seeing Sonic rendered within the N64 GoldenEye engine creates a unique look that immediately catches your attention. The gameplay remains largely faithful to GoldenEye too, so you're still completing objectives and fighting enemies. It's the kind of crossover that feels like something you'd imagine as a kid, which is exactly why it works so well. Doom 64. Out of all projects on this list, Doom 64 remains one of the most impressive examples of what N64 visuals can achieve. Originally released in 1997 by Midway, the game already looked fantastic compared to many shooters from its era. What makes modern Doom 64 ROM hack projects so appealing is how they build upon those dark environments and atmosphere, lighting, and effects. Every level feels oppressive, with eerie colors and detailed textures creating a horror-like atmosphere that still holds up surprisingly well today. The gameplay remains focused on exploration, key hunting, and fast-paced combats against hordes of demons. If you're someone who appreciates visual mods and atmosphere more than flashy graphics, Doom 64 continues to be one of the strongest experiences on the system. Zelda 64, Dawn and Dusk. The moment I started playing Dawn and Dusk, it felt less like a ROM hack and more like discovering a lost Nintendo expansion. Built using Ocarina of Time as its foundation, this project introduces a completely original adventure with new locations, puzzles, and story elements. What impressed me the most was the environmental design. The areas feel carefully crafted and visually distinct, rather than recycled from the original game. Gameplay focuses on classic Zelda exploration, dungeon solving, and item-based progression, so it immediately feels familiar to longtime fans. The community often praises this hack for feeling polished and respectful to the source material. If you wish Nintendo had made more Ocarina-style adventures, this one is an easy recommendation. Crash Bandicoot 64. Whenever I see projects like Crash Bandicoot 64, I'm reminded of how creative the N64 fan community can be. This hack reimagines Crash with N64-style hardware limitations while still preserving much of the character's charm. Visually, it does a great job capturing the colorful personality that made the original PlayStation games stand out. The environments are bright, lively, and surprisingly detailed. What makes it interesting, though, is watching Crash navigate levels designed with N64 sensibilities rather than the traditional corridor-based stages. The gameplay feels like a blend of platforming styles from both consoles. It may not replace the original Crash games, but it's a fascinating what-if scenario that retro fans will likely appreciate.
Good choice!
Good choice.
Mario Party 3: StarStruck. I think one of the hardest things for a Mario Party hack to accomplish is making players feel like they're experiencing something genuinely new. StarStruck manages that surprisingly well. The project introduces custom boards, events, and visual themes that give Mario Party 3 a fresh identity without losing what made the original so enjoyable. What stood out during my time with it, though, was the attention that it gave to the board design. The layouts encourage different strategies and create situations that don't always play out like the base game. Visually, the custom environments look polished and fit naturally within the Mario Party aesthetic. For anyone who still enjoys local multiplayer sessions, this is easily one of the most worthwhile Mario Party hacks available. Smash Remix. If there is one N64 ROM hack that constantly gets recommended by fans, it's probably Smash Remix. After playing it myself, I completely understand why. Rather than simply adding a few characters, this project feels like an alternate version of Super Smash Bros. That kept receiving official updates for years. The visual improvements are immediately noticeable, but the real highlight, though, is the massive amount of content. New fighters, stages, music, and gameplay options that dramatically expand what was already in a great multiplayer game. Despite all the additions, though, it still feels authentic to the original N64 experience. Whether you're a competitive player or someone who just enjoys casual matches with friends, Smash Remix offers an incredible amount of value.
3, 2, 1.
F-Zero X Climax. There are some ROM hacks that make small tweaks, and then there are projects like F-Zero X Climax that feel like a genuine expansion pack. The first thing I noticed was how much effort went into the tracks. Many of them feature wild twists, massive jumps, and layouts that push the N64's sense of speed even further than the original game. Visually, the courses are colorful and creative, giving each race its own identity. The core gameplay is still about maintaining momentum, managing your machine's health, and taking risks at ridiculous speeds. Fans of F-Zero often praise hacks like this because they keep the original's intensity intact. If you love arcade racers that reward skill, this one is incredibly easy to appreciate. Super Donkey Kong 64. What caught my attention with Super Donkey Kong 64 wasn't just the visual changes, but how different the adventure feels from the original game. The hack introduces new challenges, redesigned areas, and fresh ideas that encourage exploration in ways longtime players won't immediately expect. The environments are packed with bright colors and familiar Donkey Kong charm, but there's enough new content to keep things interesting. Platforming and collectible hunting remain at the center of the experience, though the altered level layouts often require you to rethink your routes that you knew once by heart. Community feedback has genuinely been positive, because it manages to feel nostalgic while still offering surprises. For DK64 fans looking for another excuse to revisit the game, this one is definitely a fun choice. The Legend of Zelda: Master of Time. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting Master of Time to feel as ambitious as it does. Built upon Ocarina of Time, this fan adventure offers an entirely new journey filled with original quests, characters, puzzles, and locations. What impressed me the most was how naturally everything fits into the Zelda formula. The world feels believable rather than just being stitched together. Visually, it makes strong use of Ocarina of Time's engine, creating environments that often look like they could have appeared in the official release. Gameplay focuses on exploration, puzzle solving, combat, and dungeon progression. Exactly what Zelda fans really want. Many players consider it one of the most polished Zelda ROM hacks ever created, and after playing it, it's easy to understand why. Super Mario 64 Kaizo. This is probably the most frustrating game on today's list, and I mean that as a compliment. Super Mario 64 Kaizo takes familiar mechanics that everyone knew and loved and turns them into an intense test of precision. The visuals aren't necessarily about fancy graphical upgrades. Instead, the impressive part comes from how creative the existing assets are used to build incredibly challenging obstacle courses. Every jump feels important, and every mistake usually sends you back to try again. What I appreciate is the difficulty rarely feels random. Success comes from learning and improving. It's definitely not a hack for casual players, but if you've mastered the original Super Mario 64 and want something that truly pushes your skills, Kaizo delivers exactly that. Waluigi's Taco Stand 64. Out of every project here, this one might be the one that made me smile the most. The entire concept sounds ridiculous on paper, and that's honestly part of its charm. Instead of saving kingdoms or collecting stars, you're helping Waluigi manage a taco stand through a series of quirky and often hilarious challenges. The visuals are colorful, playful, and packed with personality. What surprised me was how much effort clearly went into making the experience feel unique, rather than solely relying on the joke premise. Gameplay focuses on completing your tasks, interacting with customers, and navigating unusual situations. The community often highlights this as one of the most creative N64 fan projects. If you enjoy weird Nintendo content, this is absolutely worth checking out. Banjo-Kazooie Nostalgia 64. The best way I can describe Nostalgia 64 is that it feels like reconnecting with an old friend. Rather than trying to completely reinvent Banjo and Kazooie, this project focuses on delivering new content while preserving the atmosphere that made the original game feel special. The custom worlds are filled with vibrant scenery, clever platforming sections, and hidden collectibles waiting to be discovered. What stood out to me was how authentic everything feels. The levels look like they belong in an expansion rather than a fan project. Exploration remains the star of the show, however, encouraging players to search every corner for secrets. If you're someone who misses the golden age of 3D platformers, Nostalgia 64 captures that feeling remarkably well. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door 64. I've always wondered what the Thousand-Year Door would look like if it had been built on the Nintendo 64 hardware, and this project comes surprisingly close to answering that question. The visuals do a great job adapting elements from the GameCube classic into the original Paper Mario style. Characters, environments, and animations all feel familiar while maintaining the charm of the N64 era. Gameplay focuses on turn-based battles, exploration, and storytelling, much like the games that inspired it. What I appreciate most is how respectful the project is towards both entries in the series. Fans often enjoy it because it blends two beloved RPGs into something that feels very fresh. It's especially appealing for anyone who loves classic Mario role-playing adventures. Honestly, check it out. Takua 64. Some ROM hacks impress through scale, while others stand out because they are offering something completely different. Takua 64 falls into the second category. Inspired by classic 3D platformers, it introduces a new protagonist and a world that feels separate from Nintendo's usual franchises. The visuals are bright, clean, and surprisingly polished, giving the project a distinctive identity. Gameplay revolves around exploration, platforming, and uncovering secrets hidden throughout the environment. What really stuck with me, though, was the sense of discovery. Since the world isn't tied to a familiar series, I never knew what to expect around the next corner. The community often praises Takua 64 as proof of fan creators that can build original experiences, rather than simply modifying existing games. Super Mario Split Screen. One thing I've always wished for in Super Mario 64 was a proper way to explore its world alongside a friend. That's exactly what makes Split Screen so fascinating. Instead of focusing on new levels or increased difficulty, this project transforms the experience into a cooperative adventure. Seeing two players moving independently through the same world feels surprisingly natural. The visual achievement alone is impressive considering the limitations of the N64 hardware. Gameplay opens up all kinds of fun possibilities, from racing to objectives, to simply messing around in familiar stages together. The project became popular because it lets players experience a beloved classic in a completely new way. Sometimes a simple idea can have the biggest impact. Come on. GoldenEye X. For many retro fans, GoldenEye 007 and Perfect Dark represent the peak of Nintendo 64 shooters. GoldenEye X combines elements of both in a way that feels like a dream project for longtime fans. Built within Perfect Dark's more advanced engine, the hack recreates classic GoldenEye content with improved visuals, smoother mechanics, and additional features. What immediately stood out to me, though, was how polished everything feels. The missions, weapons, and level designs remain familiar, but the upgraded technology makes them more enjoyable to revisit. Players have praised this project for years because it preserves what made GoldenEye special while modernizing the experience. If you're a fan of classic console shooters, this one is practically required to play. Zelda's Birthday. The idea behind Zelda's Birthday is surprisingly simple, yet the final result feels much more ambitious than I expected. Set within the world of Ocarina of Time, the adventure sends Link on a quest centered around preparing a birthday celebration for Princess Zelda. That lighter premise gives this project a unique tone compared to many Zelda hacks. The environments are colorful and inviting, and there is a strong focus on exploration and puzzle solving. What I enjoyed the most, however, was how relaxed the experience feels, because not every adventure needs to involve saving the world. The community often appreciates this hack because it offers something charming and different while still delivering the classic Zelda gameplay that fans enjoy. "40 Winks." Technically, 40 Winks isn't a traditional ROM hack, but I still think it deserves a place in conversations about impressive N64 fan preservation projects. Originally planned for release during the Nintendo 64 era, the game never officially reached store shelves before eventually being restored years later. Visually, it captures everything people love about late-generation N64 platformers, featuring colorful worlds, imaginative enemies, and detailed environments. Gameplay revolves around collecting items while exploring dream-themed levels and rescuing creatures known as Winks. What fascinates me the most is the game's history. Playing it feels like uncovering a piece of gaming's history. For retro enthusiasts, that alone should make it worth experiencing. Mario Kart 64 Amped Up. This is the last game on our list. Mario Kart 64 Amped Up is the kind of project that reminds me why ROM hacking communities still continue to thrive. Instead of simply tweaking a few values, it delivers a huge collection of custom tracks, visual upgrades, and gameplay adjustments that significantly expand the original game. The new courses are easily the highlight, offering creative themes and layouts that feel completely different from Nintendo's originals. Racing remains as chaotic and entertaining as ever, but the added content gives veterans plenty of reasons to return. The community genuinely views Amped Up as one of the strongest Mario Kart 64 projects available. If you still enjoy multiplayer racing on the N64, this is an excellent place to start. And that's all for this video of 21 visually stunning N64 ROM hacks that prove just how creative and passionate the retro gaming community can be. Let me know which hack caught your attention the most, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stick around for more retro gaming content. Thanks again for watching.